look at all the beautiful land that we have around us, the vegetation, the buildings, the people, all the habitats we have. Think about that for a second. How beautiful it is when you look at all of these pieces of land. And if we keep drilling for crude oil, will that be around anymore? My main topic is to persuade my audience against drilling for crude oil. My reasoning for this is that it ruins so many environments, so many like habitats for animals. There's so many endangered animals, and people too. Like there's so many health risks. Speaking on like the Gulf oil spill, there's so many people who had health issues after that. And then my third main point is bodies of water being affected by oil spills and the oil drilling and all those things. The way that I can relate my speech to you guys is that, you know, most of us in Maryland, we take pride in the bay, and most of us go boating or swimming, and like we also take in the environment as well. So anywhere else where there is oil digging, oil drilling, and they don't really have that. All their wildlife is ruined, their habitats, things of that nature are just ruined. So people kind of take it for granted. The first point that I would like to speak about is how wildlife is affected by drilling for oil. And the way that they're affected is that it kills them, essentially. Most animals are killed by the oil because it's toxic to them. And my first source is 7 ways that oil harms the environment. And one of the first things it mentions is animal habitats. Because when you're digging into the ground, it kind of makes all the animals flee the area, and it just kind of ruins that environment. And the people, you know, animals kind of draw people towards places. So like if you think about it, it's kind of like the reason for tourists and some of those things. So if you run animals and their habitats off, what really do you have people wise? And then let's move forward to my second topic for what it does for surrounding land, buildings, and water. The second source that I would like to speak on is called oil and gas, and it speaks on how oil and gas leaking causes water to stop being available, because obviously you can't drink from it. That also affects people because, you know, mostly in there are some places that don't have available water like we do here, like that anyway. So when their water spaces are filled with oil, where are they supposed to get their water from? And it also affects animals, because as I said earlier, it kills them, kills their habitats, but most, like I said, water is the most affected by oil, I feel like. Buildings can be taken out by them digging for oil, because if they have a digging site that's full of oil, you know, you have buildings, you gotta evacuate and take down the buildings, because oil is a energy source. It is also one of our main uses, like, or not uses, but like energy users, I guess oil would be. And maybe if we substitute it, we need to find something that is a substitute for drilling oil for energy. We have so many other resources. And then let's move on to health risks in people. So, in my third body paragraph, I'd like to mention the different health risks that people can get from oil exposure. And one of my sources goes into like how the big oil spill. It's called the Gulf Study is my third source, and it goes into how they studied 33,000 people, and they looked at their health throughout this exposure and their exposure to the oil, and what they came up with was cancer in some places, but that has to go into like really long exposure to oil spills. What is it called? Lung issues, heart issues, bodily function issues. And then there was also a PDF attached to that. It's called the Gulf Study and the response to it. And it shows you all of the things I just mentioned, like the health studies, the body reactions, what they're trying to do to fix it, all of that. And then my final source is health effects of gas lines and other petroleum products. And it speaks on like how petroleum is extremely harmful to the environment and the people living in those environments. It creates many health risks, many risks for wildlife. It's just a big issue overall. And then finally, I would like to move on to my conclusion. My main purpose was to persuade you to want to stop oil drilling because it is very harmful to the people, the environments, the wildlife, and then just our vegetation overall. And think about how beautiful everything is now. And then just look at it and be like, or think about how if we kept drilling for oil, it would ruin all of that. We need to find a different way to create energy. Thank you for listening to my speech.